here. He was very smart, and if you picked up and if you did watch the presser, and I'd recommend you watch the presser versus listening to the narrative. There's no inflection of tone in the written word versus the spoken word, and Poch, I think, is more articulate than we give him credit for. He also threw out there, hey, we've just finished a difficult season playing 38 games away from home. Now we've got to break in the new stadium, or words to that effect. So he's not effectively laid down a mark as well. I don't know how we're going to do at the new stadium. It's not like necessarily playing at Wembley, but again, it's going to be a new stadium that you've got to get used to. And I think it's important for people to remember that. It's not just like, we're going back to a redeveloped White Hart Lane. No, we're going back to a brand new stadium where it looks great on paper and the blueprints and the video models. But now we're going to be playing with the real thing, and so I thought it was interesting that he threw that there. He's a smart man, and I don't think we will give him the credit that he truly deserves for what he does. And so I'm grateful that we've got him as our gaffer.
Yeah, well, I think that I mean, look, I'm not being a Levy apologist here, but I think you have to give some credit where credit is due. I've always I mean, my attitude with him has been shaped, and Enoch has been shaped that I actually believe that he's never going to sell this club. But he's evolved, and I think the one thing that he's really done with Pochettino is he's gotten out of the football aspect of Spurs. I don't think he ever really had great relationships with any of the managers here, and I think that book, if it did one thing, is it showed that there's a tremendous amount of respect that he has for him. And I think that if Mauricio is going to go to him and say, okay, it's phase 2, let's just say that they haven't had that conversation, in a mutually agreeing way already, and Poch says, okay, now this is what I need. Do you really think that Daniel Levy, right, is going to say, no, I don't want to do that, and he's going to say, I've got a better idea? I don't really buy that.
I thought it was interesting you posted the chairman's end-of-season address from the end of the 2015 season, which, of course, that was the match we were at. And it was interesting to read that. It was Pochettino's first season, and he made the comment that, the season exceeded our expectations to the point that recent results have been disappointing. So that just goes to show you in 1 year how the project exceeded expectations. Right. And here we are. 3 years later, with the third season in the top 3. We are the only team that's been in the top 3 the last 3 seasons.
So Timmy, one of the reasons why I've been such a miserable cunt over the last month or so is that I've been so petrified as to the consequences of us not getting the job done. Because, if the last few weeks haven't shown us how fine margins are, think about Liverpool, for example. They were somewhat close to being, put in Europa League and not winning anything this year. And, they've spent a whole hell of a lot more money than we have. You look at what's going on at Arsenal. I really don't know whether, it's going to take a long time for them to get out of this funk. And I just got caught up in sort of this, sort of negative feedback loop about, here we are again. We fucked this up. We bottled this. And I just felt like the psyche and how much it would derail what's going on, the financial consequences of what's going on. I really, really got down in the dumps about that, because I'm like, man, this could be really, really bad. Everybody involved could just get fucking fed up with the project. And
I don't think just because we've won 2 on the bounce that we need to certainly discard what we've been talking about over the last few weeks, where this mental toughness or lack thereof has at times scuppered our ability to push on to the next level. And I still think there's work to do to improve on that.
Oh, I totally agree.
And the interesting statistic is, if we'd beaten West Brom, and if we'd beaten Brighton in 2 games that were very, very poor, we would have had second. With those 5 points would have put us above United. Yeah. And again, credit to Manchester City. They have dominated all the title-winning statistics, from goal difference to points gained to goals scored by title margin, the 19. That's a record. So, you look at their number of victories. I think it's 17 on the road and 15 at home. It's ridiculous. And, even if we've been, it was never a title race, right? Never.
But here's one really good thing about the last two results is that, look, I mean, nobody can say that nobody can really accuse us of playing really good football over the last month, and we managed to do this. It was squeaky bum for all, but we did it. We didn't play well. We didn't do it in a manner that we can really be proud of the way that we play, but we can be super, super proud, especially with the injuries and the pressure involved, that we got it done. And that's something that we haven't really historically done in the past. And I just kind of clung on to our just constant stopping and starting, and failure to seize the moment. And so I actually think why I am in such a good mood like everybody else is this is encouraging today. We won ugly in succession, and now we can put some of this hoodoo behind us. And that move forward.
I mean, and if you look at the table, if you look at the one draw and loss columns for all the teams below City, it's a telling tale. I mean, Liverpool, 12 draws. That screwed their season. They may have only lost the second least amount of games in the Premier League, but 12 draws, that's not championship material. Chelsea, 10 defeats. Arsenal, 13 defeats. And fair play to Arsenal. They managed to finally get some points on the road today. And the fact that Burnley have hovered around in 7th and Everton flattered to deceive, where everyone tipped Everton with their spending pre-season to be in the top 4. So, for all our shortcomings, I think we have to say we're grateful for some of the other teams screwing around with their.
Hang on, let me ask this question. Forget about what you know about what everybody
Sorry
else
if you think this is the Sam and Simon show.
No, actually, I mean, for discussion here. Putting aside what you know about what everybody else has spent, and put aside Manchester City because they're on another level, or any of the other clubs that are fighting for top 4, I mean, we out of their league? Should we not expect to get positive results against any one of those teams on any given day?
No.
Well, see, that was my whole thing, Tim, is that I bought into all this year. I thought, you know what?
No, I mean, I get why you were in such a funk, because if we did bottle it, if we did miss out on Champions League, the whole project falls apart. Because the thing is, you're going to have all these players looking at, okay, well, I don't have Champions League this year, and look what Kyle. They're going to say, look at what Kyle Walker just did. You know, he made his move, he's getting paid, and now he has 2 trophies. He's got a league championship, and he's got a Carabao Cup trophy, and they're going to look at that, but if we didn't have Champions League to offer these players, I think that type of move was going to draw all them away because the project wouldn't be there anymore. Not entering this new home in Champions League, that was the main goal this entire season. Having to play, it's been the narrative this week, 38 games away, which really it has been because it's not our home, but having to play in a new stadium the entire season. If we didn't enter that new stadium, our new home in Champions League, I don't know where this would be, the project.
And listen, next year is not going to be a cakewalk by any means either. Yes, we'll be home. From a supporter standpoint, you don't have to take the freaking train to Wembley and wait in the friggin' queues that last forever and whatever.
I wouldn't go there. It is not going to be pretty leaving. You've got 60,000 people versus 35,000 people.
Yeah, this is going to be great.
And the infrastructure has not changed yet. That is not ready to go. So,
right. And
but those things, infrastructure side, this is exciting. This is an exciting.
But my point being is that even including, Tim just mentioned it, but Pochettino mentioned it in this press conference. We played 38 away games this year. He said that today in that press conference. He also made very clear we are going to have to transition into this new home. It's not going to be we're going to walk in and we're home. It is a completely different stadium. It's going to be a completely different atmosphere. And us as supporters are either going to make or break that atmosphere right off the bat. The club has to perform. The players have to perform on the pitch for that noise level, that, whatever you want to call it. I think white noise is like the hashtag that I'm kind of latching on to for this. It needs to be something special or it's going to turn into the fucking Emirates real quick. And so I think that that's what Pochettino sees. And I think that that's why he wants to have these discussions with Levy to say, look, I need more flair. I need more excitement. I need people that can put the ball in the back of the fucking net and people that can prevent the other team from doing that same thing. He needs to go find those players. And I think that's his message.
Very good. Hey, should we talk about what we started at the beginning of the season? If
Did I win?
Tim and Sam can recall.
Did I win? Did I win?
I know you're jonesing to have won something today, Tim. We still got the triv coming up. So at the beginning of the season, we all put in our league table as we thought it would finish. It's tough to do that. And then we kind of see how we did at the end of the season. And I always put in some pundit to kind of validate the process. And this season I put Merson in. And Merson actually picked, ironically, us to finish third. He picked City to win it. He also got Arsenal right. So there's the true irony. And he also got Leicester. So he was tops along with Spencer, who also picked City to win. And he got some mid-table results right. Tim, you got 3 along with Ken. You picked the top 2. You got City and United right. You also got Palace. Ken, you got Arsenal correct. But more importantly, Sam and Simon, I only got one right, but I picked Spurs in third, as did Sam. So Vas picked. He got Arsenal right.
Never a doubt, lads.
But
Never a doubt.
It's fun to do, and it just goes to show. Here's the funny thing. Funny, ha. Every one of us, I think, had either Brighton or Huddersfield in the bottom 3. And, of course, none of the promoted teams got relegated this season, I think. All throughout the leagues.
And
all
that match,
divisions.
Right? Against Chelsea, what a savior for us. My God, imagine today being for fucking... Oh,
well, and I think Mick the Geordie wanted us to have a laugh at Chelsea because they got absolutely battered by Newcastle today. It's hilarious. It's funny. Conte, bye-bye.
I think, I guess I just didn't really appreciate Rafa Benitez for probably the extent that I should, because he's got a whole bag of nothing up there. But boy, he's...
Well, I know you're a huge John Joe Shelby fan, right?
Yeah.
We'll do those predictions again for next season.
What about that? What about the relegation? Who else did we have? Didn't I pick one of the relegation teams? Because I thought I picked Swansea.
You've got Swansea right. You didn't have them in the right spot, though.
Oh, gotcha. All right.
I didn't get it. Okay, yeah.
How
do I describe John Joe Shelby this week?
Voldemort. Something.
No.
Voldemort.
What is it? A lazy cunt who can pass every once in a while or something like that.
Yeah, and they're calling for him to get called up for England, right?
He had 3 Premier League assists this year. Are you kidding me? And they're gonna suggest that he should get an England World Cup call. Kudos to Newcastle for supporting a player, but what a joke! Come on.
Well,
Wilshire's more deserving than he is. I hate to say it. I'm just being honest.
Yeah, I don't think either one of them needs to be.
So while we're talking about, the end of the season, I know this is a Tottenham podcast, but what has been your surprise through this campaign outside of Spurs in, team performances? Was it a shocker to see Swansea go down? Are you happy to see Stoke and West Brom go down? Are you excited at the prospects of who's coming up? Villa and...
Oh, man, Jack Grealish's Cavs. I'm excited for that.
But the only bad thing about that is that John Terry comes along with Jack Grealish's Cavs.
The Cavs outweigh it.
Really?
Do you think...
Are you sure you're really married, Tim?
You think John Terry's made the moves on Jack Grealish?
Maybe.
Get him rubbed down. So never mind. Fuck's sake.
Anyway, have there been any surprises, Ken?
I think there's 2. The first one is not really a surprise, but I felt Wolves were going to have a good campaign. I think they will be solidly up mid-table. They are a very good squad, and they are going to improve with some of the money that they're going to get from coming up. I think it's a toss-up between how well Burnley played this year and how poorly West Brom played. I thought with West Brom getting their new Oriental ownership that they were just going to start dumping tons of money into that club and get players in, and they immediately just went to shit and got relegated. And then to piggyback on that, Sunderland, who went down last year, went down again, and so they're now in League One. So those are my surprises.
But West Brom, credit to Darren Moore. He gets Manager of the Month and gets relegated the same day. They pulled the trigger too late on Pardew.